What's up, everybody? Mike here, back with another episode. First off, man, I appreciate all the feedback and the love from the last episode. My goal was just to tell my story and hopefully resonate with some of you. But if you missed that episode, you can check it out on YouTube or Spotify, the Mike Check podcast. And you could also find it on all other major podcast platforms. Again, I do appreciate all the feedback. It does not go unnoticed. But for now, in this episode, Pete and I sit down once again and talk about something that's pretty important, but not a whole lot of people talk about in depth. And that topic is money. I'm not going to go too far into it, but just listen in, sit back, relax, and let's get this thing started.
So in this episode, we're talking about finance.
Ooh.
So from the last episode, we talked about a 1099 worker.
Yeah.
And so a 1099 worker they're their own boss, but they do their taxes a little differently and stuff like that. So I had quite a few people reach out to me and ask about the finance portion of it.
Okay.
So I'm a W-2. I feel like a lot of people are W-2 workers, and they clock in, they clock out, and it's pretty vanilla and stuff like that. But not a lot of people know about the 1099 side. So.
Yeah, there's a lot less people doing it, which is a cool thing, but it's also pretty stressful.
Yeah.
Like 1099 is like, yeah, you work for yourself, but like you got to do everything yourself. Like you go to a W-2 job, there are people that help you. Like you just get a paycheck. You don't have to worry about benefits. Like that's taken care of for you. You just got to choose.
That's true, yeah.
Like paychecks, like in terms of payroll, like how much you get paid, you get a paid set amount. Like that's a lot of stuff that like people don't think about is like when you're 1099, you're your own accountant. Like you do all that shit. And when you do a W-2 job, you got a whole department dedicated to that.
It's a lot easier, less stressful.
It's a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, granted, you like potentially like you could get paid less. You could also get paid more, but like at least you don't have to worry about it. That's the thing. Like I got to do my own taxes, like everything, receipts, expenses, income, tracking all the income. So yeah,
you're your own HR department.
Yeah,
right.
Dude, I'm HR. I'm accounting. Like I'm the producer. I'm a director. I'm the videographer.
Yeah,
like
you wear a lot of hats, bro.
Yeah,
on top of the cowboy hat.
Yeah, cowboy hat's important. You know, we country boys out here.
That's how we do it. Dude, we're just gonna talk about finances, man, because I feel like that's something that you're fired up about. It's something I like to talk about. So
yeah.
I feel like it's relevant too to us because we come from a family of immigrants, where money was scarce at one point.
Yep.
And then with this COVID pandemic thing, I feel like it really exposed a lot of people's financial insecurities, All right, so we got to give a disclaimer though. We are not financial advisors, accountants, or we're not licensed for any of this, actually, right?
Hell no. Should we be talking about this right now? I don't know.
I don't know, but
hey, I'm just here to talk about how I do things.
Yeah, me too. So this is like big bro advice, right?
Big bro advice. I like that. I like how you put that.
Yeah.
Just talking about how we do things. It works for us. Might not work for you, but this is just how we do it. It's just always good to hear how other people do it.
Yeah,
you could
different
just
perspective, right?
You take little tidbits from us, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So
all right, big money Mike.
I'm gonna rename this podcast.
So you're pretty fired up about finance and stuff like that. Can you tell me how finance was growing up and stuff with your immigrant parents and things?
Yeah, like with my parents, they, it's always save money where you can, because we started with nothing. So save money. That's all it was. And then only spend money on the things that you actually need.
Yeah.
And then as they were raising me, they were like, yeah, find a secure job so that you can continue saving money and provide. So it's pretty straightforward. I mean, that's all it is, how it was in my household, that, at least from my perspective growing up. It's like we didn't spend money on fancy things. We spent money on trips. But for the most part, I think my parents were saving money for college for us, me and my sister, and then sometimes family vacations and stuff like that. How was it for like
my
you growing up?
experience was pretty similar to yours. It was it was very basic. Save enough money, try not to outspend your earnings and things like that.
Yeah.
But I would say, and I don't know if this was for you, but the financial literacy portion of it wasn't really there. I wasn't really taught that. If I wanted money or something, I would ask my dad, and maybe he'd give it to me or not, or anything like that. But
so like go to the mall,
go
to the movies.
Buy like some food or some clothes and things like that. But we didn't really go on fancy trips or anything like that. So
Didn't go to Disney World?
Didn't go. I've never been to Disney World, man. Someone take me.
Oh,
yeah, I know.
Somebody want to take them?
But yeah, it was just like you. A lot of saving money and but not a lot of financial literacy or being taught that as a kid.
Yeah.
Not
That's
even
true.
throughout like school, up to college even.
Yeah, dude, it's so important.
Right.
Like learning about money, even when you're young. I think growing up, like actually with my family, my parents did teach me a little bit about money. Like when I was in grade school, if I made A's, I got $1 for every A that I got.
Dang.
Yeah, I think it was $2 per A, and then like a buck for a B, and that's basically all my income. No C's, nothing for C's, bro. No, I couldn't make C's in my household, man. Yeah, so yeah, basically, when I was growing up, that's how it was. Like that's how I earned my money, and sometimes I cut grass for money. So they did teach me a little bit. Like I had to earn it. You know what I mean? And that's kind of embedded in my brain now. Like you have to work for your money. And I just bought video games or like toys or something because I was a kid. That was the only thing I could think of spending money on. So yeah, that's how I learned.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it seems like you learned a lot now because you're pretty comfortable talking about finance.
Yeah.
So what does financial security mean to you right now?
Financial security.
Yeah, your definition, big money Mike.
Financial security means a lot to, or it means different things to a lot of different people. So for me, financial security is like, how do I take care of my baseline income or my baseline expenses, like living and bills? That's pretty baseline. If I have a car payment, right? Gas, food. So as long as I take care of that, I'm good. And then everything else is kind of like fun money. Like I can save it, I can invest it, or I can spend it and go out on trips or whatever. So yeah, that's financial stability, is to be able to do all those things without having to worry, like checking my bank account to make sure I can afford X.
You're not sweating it.
Yeah. That's financial security to me.
Gotcha.
I mean, maybe it's the Asian in me where I'm like always looking for the best budget or the best deal. You know what I mean? Like you got to get hit up slick deals. You got to go on Amazon, bro. Yeah, like I still do those things. I think it's just how we grew up frugally, and so it's kind of like embedded in me to always check the price on stuff. Always check if you have enough to afford it, stuff like that. So I think I'll always be doing that.
Thing you see this new jacket or something, you're like, what's the price?
Exactly. This is really nice, but what's the price? So yeah, that's how it is for me. Is just checking to make sure, like, okay, can I afford this and stuff like that. But one day, hopefully, I'll just be like, fuck it.
F you money, right?
Yeah, like F you money. Like I can buy this. Like I don't have to sweat it. But yeah, it's kind of a mix of both, like mentally and like, do I have enough money? And but for the most part, yes, I do have enough money to take care of myself right now, and still have fun. So
nice.
Yeah, that's financial stability
dope to hear,
right
man.
now. Yeah. What about you? What's financial stability mean to you?
So financial stability to me, and also I'll even throw in like financial freedom, is really to, like you said, not really stressed about money, but still being able to do things that I value in life. I don't want to devalue things that I do just because I'm worried about the expenses and things like that. So I want to take care of myself, take care of my family, our needs, our health, everything, their retirement, and then what's left over is FU money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if I want to go on trips, if we want to go on another Yosemite trip or something like that, like it's, nothing's holding me back.
Right. You just don't want to sweat it.
Yeah, exactly.
Same with me.
Don't want to lose sleep over it,
Yeah. Cool. Do you feel like you're there yet? Like, do you feel like you are at that financial?
Yeah. But definitely better now that I've been working for a year and a half now. So,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you've been able to save and also invest and stuff like that.
Yeah. Parents have a good cushion now, so
cool.
Makes me feel a little better. I can sleep better at night now.
Do you take care of your parents financially too at all?
Yeah, I'd say pretty much I do take care of my parents financially. Like, they're not too in tune with their financial status right now, and they're not doing the best. But good thing they have me to like look at their bank statements and making sure they have a good emergency fund, and starting to invest and building up that little nest egg so they can retire on.
Yeah, because you said like you grew up, you didn't have financial literacy from your parents, like you didn't learn that from them.
Yeah.
So like you're having now to teach them a little bit about
Yeah, I tried, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do your own research.
Uh-huh.
Like, that's pretty dope. Like, you did it
Thanks,
on your
man.
own. You figured it out, and now you're teaching your parents,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe future kids. Like, you
Oh,
you
yeah,
know
for
it.
sure,
You know it
man.
now. So
Let's talk about the basics of budgeting. I feel like that's a good introduction to like finance in general.
yeah,
Okay. So
Cool.
walk us through like kind of how you budget and stuff like that.
budgeting. I have a whole spreadsheet on it. Like, I have like, I mean, you're like this too, right? Like, you
I
have
love
spreadsheets.
tables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Excel or Google Sheets or whatever. Use that as much as you can to help you kind of visualize your expenses and stuff like that. I think everybody should do that. Just create their own budget. But the way that I budget is, first thing, I feel like this is how most people do it too. First thing is rent or mortgage, and then bills, and then living expenses, like food and gas and stuff like that. Then I have my credit card, my monthly credit card budget. That's kind of like my fun money, where like if I go out to eat or go out for drinks or like pay for a trip or something like that.
Yeah.
That's where that goes. That has its own budget. And then my savings, all my savings stuff. So I might have it kind of backwards, but I do want to, like, I prioritize enjoying life as well.
Yeah.
So I
That's
have
important.
a budget for that. Like, that's important to me. So that's what I do. And so whatever money I have left over, like, I save as much as I can. And I have 5 savings accounts. Like,
Damn.
I'm not flexing or anything. That's just the way I organize it.
But they're for different purposes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I learned it from a friend of mine. He's really into finance, and he said, like, just open up separate savings accounts for all your savings goals.
I see.
High yield savings if you can.
Might as well, right?
Yeah, might as well. I mean, you're not going to earn much, but it's better than, like,
Yeah,
you
if
know,
you're gonna
your
park your
basic
car
chase.
anywhere, might as well make it work the hardest, and that really is a high yield savings account, or a money market account, but essentially they're the same thing. So okay, I like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
you're more the meticulous side of budgeting, right?
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
tables and you're
I like to see
allocating-
the numbers.
Right.
It might not be as good as yours, like with colors and stuff. Mine is the most. It's got
I'm
2
like
columns.
a little kid with the Crayola markers.
Yeah, for real. Mine's just 3-4 columns, and that's it. Like,
Keep it vanilla.
yeah, keeping it simple.
Yeah.
So that's how I organize things. And it's always good to just visualize it somehow, some way. So Google Sheets is my go-to.
And always like revisit and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I look at it almost every day. Yeah, I'm meticulous about it. I look at it every day to make sure like everything's on point.
So I would say that for budgeting, I used to do it that way, but I got so like consumed and obsessed with it, and I didn't like it. So I decided to do kind of like a reverse method, and so I would pay myself first. I think there's a title for that. It's just pay yourself first kind of budget.
So what does that mean?
That means that I know when I first get my paycheck, that the money first has to go to things that are really important to me. So first I pay myself because I'm the most important person because I bring in the bread, right? And then you got to pay your family or whomever. So I pay down my debt. I put money into my investment accounts. I put money into my parents' savings account and things like that. And then it goes to the bills and everything. And whatever is just left over is my fun money. So I just make it totally easy. And then I got so used to it. Now I just give myself, because I get paid semi-monthly, I just give myself an allowance for like 2 weeks essentially that I know I could survive on. So everything else goes into something.
Okay.
So that my money works.
Yeah.
And so I don't have to like think too much about it.
Yeah, that's good. Like, you know exactly where every dollar is going.
Yeah.
Like, there's no dollar that's like has no purpose.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
I try to zero things out.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
No, that's awesome. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about debt? Like, how do you tackle debt and be able to, like? It's a big question, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're comfortable talking about it.
No, let's do it, man.
Okay, cool. So debt. You came out of school with debt, of course. You got student loans, as do many people. How do
Yeah.
you tackle that? Still be able to, travel, have fun, and do all that stuff, and still like provide for your family. Like, that seems like a lot. Like, I mean, that's a lot of pressure. But I mean, you're handling it. It seems, right?
Yeah.
So how do you do it?
I'd say that the first step is to look at your debt. Is to gather it all together and just look at it. It's gonna look ugly. Yeah, I know. It's going to be like, yikes. But look at it. Look at it, face
Dead
to
in the
face.
eyes.
Yeah, dead in the eyes, and just be like, all right, let's go. It's go time, right?
Yeah. Oh.
So you're going to collect all your debt, and you got to make a plan.
Yeah.
So every plan and what my advice would be is going to be different for everyone. But essentially, I think every finance nerd or advisor can agree on is you first make a plan and you stick with it. You write it out. So
Trust the plan.
trust the plan. Trust yourself.
Yeah.
Right? You know what you're doing. Trust
Especially
your gut.
because you're getting a consistent paycheck.
Yeah.
You know how much money's coming in.
Yeah. So
there's really no excuse.
Exactly.
Right?
With the W-2 people, at least, you know you're going to have that income stability. So tackle it head on. And I will say that if your debt to income ratio, so, I'll just use examples of PAs. So, if a PA is coming out of school with like upwards of about $100,000 in debt, and they're making about $100,000, and their debt to income ratio is about 1. That's a good indicator to me that you could just pay that off aggressively.
Okay.
So
if that ratio, that's like a finance rule.
Yeah, it's like a ratio.
The ratio,
yeah.
like that's a measurement
it's
of
less than,
how aggressive you can be in paying your debt.
I'd say
that's cool.
Yeah. But also you got to think about like how comfortable are you with living with debt? Like I hate it.
Yeah.
I wake up and I'm like, dang, I'm still in debt.
You think about it every morning?
Yeah.
Oh God.
But nonetheless, like develop a plan. If I think most people are down to pay it off aggressively and it makes financial sense.
Yeah.
So my tip would be gather it all together, and if aggressively paying off works for you and that's the method and you're comfortable with it and you thought about this, then refinance those debt, right? Refinance it and do it often, right?
To lower that interest rate.
Lower the interest rate as far as you can go. I've seen interest rates today go as low as like 2%. So it's just going lower, just like mortgage rates are going lower. So take advantage of that. The downside is you might, decrease your credit score for a little bit, but it's not a lot.
Yeah, it's not like you're gonna buy a house anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but no, so like you develop this plan, and then people talk about, should I just focus solely on the debt or should I invest as well?
Yeah. So what's your view on that? Like, you want to invest, but you also have debt to pay off.
My personal opinion is do both. Start at the 50, and then you can allocate accordingly if you want to do like 60% debt and then some investing like that. But the reason I feel so strongly about investing at the same time too is because you don't want to be 5 years out, maybe that's how long it took to pay off your loan, and then your net worth is like zero. That kind of sucks, right? After 5 years of grinding it out.
Yeah.
And then secondly, if anything like happens to you, you want to at least be able to give something to your folks or something like that. Given you should have life insurance too and all that, but still, I feel like waking up knowing that you have some value to you is a good metric, right?
Yeah, it's good. Oh, and also I see it as if you're young, you're healthy, most likely nothing's gonna happen to you health wise.
Knock on wood.
Let's knock on wood. For the most part, when you're in your 20s, you're pretty healthy. Yeah. So, but you never know what could happen.
Exactly.
So it's always good to have some value to your name, to your net worth or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
So okay. So you're saying 50-50, invest and also pay down your dets.
And when I say invest, I mean at least do the bare minimum to get the employer match at your work, and then the investment vehicles like your IRA or hunt down for an HSA. I love HSAs. I'm a big proponent of them. Yeah, that's a gold mine right there. Yeah, that could be a whole nother episode, but at least get some money in that. You know.
So then let's talk about investing then. So we understand tackle debt as aggressively as you can.
For the most part, I feel like that applies to a lot of people. Okay,
cool. So if you could do that, and it's also based on preference. True. How much does debt weigh on your shoulders? Like how much do you think about it? Do you think about it every morning, like when you wake up, like Peter Trinh here?
When I'm having my coffee.
Like, God damn, that debt, bro. Jesus. So pay down your debt however you want to, but in your case, 50-50, invest and to pay down debt. So we're going to talk about the other side now. So investing. So what do you do to invest that you feel is like what's the order? Like, in terms of the priority of what you invest in, because a lot of people don't even know where to start. Right. Like I mean, we came from not knowing anything either. We had to do all this research ourselves.
I know. And we would talk about it and stuff.
Yeah, we talk about it. I learned a lot from you.
Yeah, vice versa.
Yeah. So what do you do investing wise? What's the first thing that you invest in, and then kind of carry out from there, from the less important ones.
I gotcha. I feel like one of the best ways to answer that question is the order and then the vehicle that you're using to invest.
Okay.
So for instance, I would first, you get your paycheck, and then hopefully you already invested enough to get that match. So a PA that makes 100,000, if your employer matches 4%, you put in 4%, right?
Okay.
And then you just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And then now you get the money from the actual paycheck, right? Mm-hmm. And then I would invest into an HSA next. That would be my next vehicle. Okay. So you go from a 401k or 403b, what have you. Okay. And then you go to an HSA next. Okay. And I love HSAs. Yeah. Just, you're using it on medical expenses. It's tax free. Mm-hmm. You can invest with it. Mm-hmm. You can pass it down to your loved ones and whatnot. You can use it on your kids and stuff because they're your dependents. So it's the gold mine, man. Okay. For real. Cool. So I would max out the HSA first, and so after that, I would max out your IRA.
Okay. So open up an IRA.
Yeah, open up. It's so easy, and it's so easy to open up an HSA if your employer doesn't offer it.
So before we get into all this, we have to explain what the heck these acronyms are.
Oh, yeah.
We're throwing a lot of we're talking because we know it.
Yeah, I'm so fired up. Are you?
Yeah, fired up about money. So 401k. Okay. That's a company matched investment account, correct?
Yeah. So it's an employer sponsored retirement account. Yeah. Okay. So you'll invest with it.
Okay. Cool.
You're right.
And that's through your employer, and that comes out of your paycheck.
Yeah,
every week or every 2 weeks.
Whenever you get paid,
Whenever you get paid, And you don't even see it half the time. It's just kind of
it's best if you don't. You just set it and forget it.
Set it and forget it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And then the other thing you said was HSA. What is that?
So an HSA is a health savings account. Okay. So this is pretty new, but so with an HSA, like I said, if you use the expenses towards medical related things, you don't get taxed on it, which is great.
Okay.
Right. So what that means is, let's just say $100,000 earning PA, right?
Yes.
Let's just say they're in the 24% tax bracket, or they'd probably be in the 24% tax bracket, right? You just save 24%, because if you handed the clinic $100, that $100 was tainted because Uncle Sam touched it first. Right? He pulled some taxes away from it. Yeah. Versus an HSA, that $100 or the money you gave to the clinic is crispy, it's clean, it's not tainted.
It's laundered. No, I'm just kidding. It's legal laundering, guys.
This cowboy here talking that nonsense.
So an HSA you can use on medical expenses tax free.
Yeah. And you can invest with it if you're not using it for
That's
anything.
pretty crazy. It has two purposes.
Yeah,
it's not just for investing. That's cool. So HSA, and then what's the other one? IRA. What's that?
IRA is an individual retirement account. And so that was created because, if you don't have an employer that offers a 401k for some reason or something like that, as long as you have a paying job, you're eligible to open an IRA. Okay. Anywhere.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's traditional IRA and Roth IRA.
Yeah, so that's your flavors of
how you want it taxed, basically.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. How you want it taxed: upfront, traditional, or Roth assets. Yeah. So your employer-sponsored retirement plan can go either the traditional route or the Roth route. Your IRA can go the traditional route, tax later, or the Roth route, tax upfront. Okay. And then never have to pay taxes on it ever again. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
So those three things are kind of the big foundational investment accounts.
That's a trifecta right there, baby.
Trifecta. So again, it's 401k, HSA, and IRA.
Yeah, that's my personal preference right there.
Yeah, I agree with that. We could dive deeper into what all those 401k, HSA, IRA, all these freaking letters are. That's gonna take forever.
That's a different
I think
episode
that's a rabbit hole.
man.
Yeah, but just research those things, right? You would suggest that people research those things.
Yeah, just start off with the trifecta right there.
Okay, how about this? How much money should you be saving, percentage-wise? You think?
I say the standard should be what good old Uncle Dave Ramsey says.
My man Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey.
Love that guy.
It's at least 15%.
Okay.
I think
15% of your income. Your net income.
I think they refer to pre-tax.
Pre-tax. Oh, yeah. Okay.
But honestly, I calculate things as after tax. So
15% per paycheck going to savings.
Yeah. Going to whatever, investing meaning savings. It's going to your 401k, whatever, right? to me, savings means not just keeping the money and letting it sit there, but doing something with it, as you alluded to.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, make it work for you.
Make it work, man.
Yeah.
I know you do some little fun investing on the side and everything.
I don't know what I'm doing half the time, but
not a lot of people do. That's the fun. That's the fun part about it.
I guess. Yeah.
What have you invested in that you don't have to tell us, but like how would you invest in if you were actively investing?
Stocks. I mean, it's very volatile, but like right now, stocks are like the market's so down, but like it could be a good time to invest, but it also might be too early because it could go down further. But I'm not into like the day trading thing. Like I tried it for a little bit. It just takes a lot of time and investment, like of your mental energy to do. And I don't think I'm willing to do that. So like I try to invest in stocks that are safe. Yeah. Like big companies, like, $1 trillion market cap companies, like Apple,
chips.
Microsoft.
Okay.
Yeah. So like safe companies like that, it's slow growth, but it's growth. And it's just, I'm not trying to beat the market or anything. I just want to make money without thinking about it. So that's what I would set up my Roth IRA to do. I did a target date fund for that.
Ooh,
that's
another
hot.
Thing. That's sexy.
Yeah, you like those words?
Target date fund.
So I do that. I just don't want to think too much about it.
Yeah.
I just want to throw money at it and monitor it every now and then, maybe once a week, a few times a month.
Yeah.
And hopefully I get some sort of return on it, like 3-4%, 7% if it's good. Stuff like that. But yeah, I used to do way more active investing. Yeah. Like at the beginning of COVID, because that's when stocks were really plummeted.
Dude, everybody was, right? It was easy on Robinhood and stuff like that.
Everybody, TD Ameritrade is what I use. And everybody was like, investing on the stock that just completely plummeted, in March, and then made some money, as summer was approaching. And so, yeah, I kind of rode that wave for a little bit, day traded. Like I'm not actually a day trader.
Hey, but you made some money though.
I made some money. My dad has helped me too, like taught me a lot of things, and he did some investing on my account for me as well. Actually, more than half of it with me. That money, actually, this is actually good to bring up too. Like that stock investing money, I don't touch that. Like that's its own separate thing.
Own savings account for that.
Yeah, like it's its own account that I don't touch, or a savings account, because like I don't want to rely on that as part of my income. That's a very important thing. Like when you're investing in stuff, like don't even think about using that money until retirement or for a long-term goal. Cause you're going to be like, if you think like, okay, I have like 50 grand in my stocks account, you could withdraw it, and use it, but like, I'd rather just keep it in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just keep reinvesting and grow that account if you can.
Just let that thing grow, right?
Yeah. That's what I do. And
I like that. It seems like, you've dabbled into, so there's like two ways of essentially investing, right? Either you're a passive investor or you're an active investor, right? And so I feel like you dabbled into active investing, but you're also down for the passive investing because that's what the target date funds really are for, right?
Yep. What kind of stuff do you do?
So for me, I'm not really good with active investing. I don't do options or puts or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I don't have the balls right now to ride the volatility.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of passive investing. So low cost index funds are like my way to go. Like during COVID, like I definitely lost some money, but like, it wasn't a lot compared to other people that were, that had everything probably in like Apple or something. Or,
Yeah, it's really risky because you're relying on one company to make you money. And that company could do really well one day or they could do really bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there is the potential to make a lot of money on that. It's definitely riskier, though.
Yeah. But I feel like, for beginners, like I said, like your default should be low-cost index funds. The total stock market, maybe the S&P 500, the top 500 companies. And maybe bonds if you want bonds, but that's it. Keep it simple, keep it boring, so you can concentrate on other things you like to do, right? For fun.
So with COVID and all that stuff, we're talking about investing. We touched on a little bit of like what happened during COVID. How did that affect you? Like in your either financial stability or your investments or whatever? How did COVID affect you, and what did you learn from it?
So I would say that COVID is like a redemption to me because I'll say, and I know, like, you kind of know this, like 10 years back, my family and I were in, a financial shitstorm, right? And so, fast forward to today, I mean, it was kind of like the similar scenario, but except this time, I learned from it. I increased and flexed that financial literacy. And I came prepared, like on day one of my paycheck when I started working last year, I started that emergency fund, like that was the first thing I knew my paycheck was going to. So but I didn't think that I'd be needing this as a safety net so early on, after working. But
so how much should you have as an emergency fund for situations like that?
People would say 6 months at least.
6 months
I would
of
endorse
expenses?
that. Yeah, 6 months to a year,
Okay.
Of your need to live expenses, your bare minimum, essentially.
Right. So like I mentioned before, rent and bills,
Yeah.
food,
Yeah.
and gas.
Assuming, you don't get any income whatsoever for 6 months to a year. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And that could be different for everybody.
Is that amount, that X amount? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you started on that from day one when you started working. So when COVID hit, you were okay?
I knew I was going to be okay, but of course, it shook everyone,
Yeah.
So like I was shaken up, but I remember whenever, work cut my hours and before I was furloughed, first thing I did was contact my family and I was like, look, these are the numbers. I think we'll be okay. I think we could ride this out. We just need to be smart with our money and stuff. So
if anything, like it probably taught you a lot, right?
Yeah.
About like what to do in another situation like this if it ever happens again.
Yeah, I feel like it was a good testament to the principles, the financial principles you learn and the financial hardships you went through. It kind of makes it all worth it in a sense. So that's my take on it. I know, like, you're freelancing and stuff like that. Like your business took a hit, like, and all that. So how did COVID affect you?
Oh yeah, I mean, with all business owners, small business owners, it affected everybody. Like, yeah, there were some people that actually told me, like some online trainers that I work with. Yeah, they said that they actually gained business because more people were spending more time at home.
Oh dang, they were the winners.
Yeah, they were the real winners. Like anybody who did home workouts or online training probably made a killing during COVID because everybody actually had time to work out and focus on their health.
Oh yeah, good point.
Yeah, so some of the online trainers that I worked with said that they actually made money. For me, I took a huge hit. Like as soon as COVID, the end of February, and then beginning of March, people were starting to cancel. People were starting to postpone shoots with me. Oh. So that means no income for me. So I did take a hit. And I mean, I still made a little bit here and there because I could still edit. So I did a lot of remote work. Yeah. So I edited videos for people and I still made some income and, I did file for unemployment too. So, and like small business loan stuff. So yeah, I mean, like, even though I took a hit, I still had, kind of a safety net to kind of cover me. Although I wish I was making, the money that I was normally making. Yeah. But like you said, you save up for situations like that. Right. Emergency funds.
Apply those principles, right?
Yeah. Apply those principles. And when the time hits, you have that money, even though you don't want to dip into it, you have to. So,
what about like psychologically?
Psychologically, how did it help affect me?
Yeah. Were you losing sleep?
No. Dude, I was chilling. Bro.
You digital nomad.
No work. Like we traveled. Like we went on a couple trips.
Well, we didn't travel like in the city. We went to like remote Palo
Duro. Yeah. We went to the country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We went camping and all that campfire stuff.
You know what I mean? Yeah, just cooking on a cast iron.
This is what we do.
Yeah. So we took a few trips, like road trips. We didn't fly any planes. But like just use the time to like reset. It was a reset. Like you said, it was redemption. I think it was like a reset for me because
that's fire, man. Give me a fist bump. I like that.
Redemption and reset. So for me, like mentally, it resetted me because I work all the time. Like I work 7 days a week. Yeah. Like there's never a day off.
This dude's a hardworking man.
I'm shooting. Yeah, I try to give myself Sundays off. Like, and I try to be a potato or stuff like that, but I'm always like thinking about the next thing. Like,
yeah, like you can't sit still.
Right. Like, what do I plan for the next project? Yeah. Because like, if I'm not editing or if I'm not filming, I could plan for the next shoot that I have if it's if there's a shoot. But yeah, that's how it is for me. So during COVID, when I didn't have any work, I was chilling, dude. Like I didn't have anything, kind of taking it as like a long vacation.
A sabbatical.
Yeah, sabbatical, man. Like just focusing on myself. Even though I couldn't travel anywhere, I still kind of like just kept to myself. I mean, quarantine did drive me nuts because I'm like I love to be out and about and being around people.
Yeah,
so when you can't do
traveling.
that, when you can't do that, you kind of go crazy. So that's why we took a trip, get out every now and then.
So I feel like the moral of that story is at least being financially literate, and applying those principles and having a plan really does pay off, at least, during like a financial shitstorm.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I know let's backtrack a little bit. How much did you have to dip into your savings? Not, you don't have to say a dollar amount, but like did you have to dip in a lot? Like
I didn't dip into my savings.
Oh.
But okay, I'll say the caveat is, I did apply for unemployment.
Oh, okay.
And like, so I was living off of that, that was just the caveat. But had I not had unemployment, then yes, I would have dipped into my savings. And so, but it would have been enough again for at least 6 months. So I personally do 6 months. I don't do a whole year.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future I will, but right now 6 months.
I mean, you're always building it. It could potentially be a year like worth of.
And I can also grab from like my HSA if I need to and reimburse myself. I can grab from my IRA for my contribution. So I mean, there's
so many safety nets you have.
Yeah. So
that's why it's important to have these investments.
Be elusive, be dynamic.
Yeah. So like, it's all about setting yourself up for potential downfall. Like just. You got to have that savings. You got to have those investment accounts, those safety nets in case something terrible happens like COVID. So that's awesome. Good stuff, man. Glad you did that.
There's actually one question I want to ask you. I feel like this is a good, philosophical question.
Okay,
if you
I like
will.
Philosophical.
Okay, you ready?
I'm all
ready
about
for
that.
the $1 million question?
You see
what I did there?
Oh, well, nice.
So let's talk about, for real though, let's talk about money and happiness. I mean, I feel like those two things are like peanut butter and jelly. They're always talked about together.
Yeah.
So what does happiness and money mean to you,
Oh, money and happiness, man.
Yeah, big question.
That's a big question. So money and happiness, I think they could be, I think they do. I mean, one doesn't rely on the other. So like, so money is kind of its own separate thing.
Okay.
Like money is there to help you like pay for those baseline expenses, to have fun and stuff. But like, if we're getting real philosophical, like to me, it's about like people, like relationships that I have with people, whether it's my family or my friends. So that's happiness for me. It's like, can I be able to support myself and grow a business? That's kind of its own thing. And that could provide some happiness in making, like, it makes me money and stuff. Like your money is something that you can't.
It's only of this world.
Yeah.
You can't take it with you.
Exactly. So yeah, it's great to chase those things and have goals to make it and do those things. But it's definitely not the most important thing. Like you don't want to get sucked up in that.
Yeah.
And that's why I prioritize my happiness. In our last episode, like I prioritized my happiness over how much money I was making.
Yeah.
Because I was so set on the 6-figure salary. Because I thought that was the key to being successful. So, but come to find out, like that wasn't for me. It doesn't make me happy, and I feel like I'm the happiest I've ever been, like working for myself and being able to have time to focus on family and friends and doing things that are fun and bring joy to my life. So that's how I see money and happiness. Like they could be exclusive, like its own things separately, independently. But like money is just there kind of as like a baseline, like, okay, I can pay to survive, to live, and then I can focus on other things that make me happy.
I like that. It seems like, you have a good relationship between your money and then like the thought process behind what brings you happiness, right? So it doesn't seem like you're very consumed about money and a dollar sign, but really what brings joy to your life, the things that you do, the people you spend your time with. And time is like money too. So if you want to get all philosophical, so I like that. I like how you're so aware and you have a grasp of that.
So what does money and happiness mean to you? Is it similar? Do you have something else to add on to it?
That's a real original question, bro.
I'm flipping questions on you, man. I can't.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a good question.
The good old saying that money doesn't buy happiness, I definitely stand by that. And so, man, you really took the words out of my mouth, man. It was well put too. Yeah, I feel like as far as happiness, it's really focused on what brings like meaning to your life, what's meaningful to you, and so it's the people you spend time with, your family and your friends, and the things that you do, and maybe your alone time too. I feel like happiness is associated with money. Like I feel like you gotta have some money to enjoy some things, right?
True. Yeah,
And
because
not-
if you're broke, you can't enjoy
go on
anything.
trips or-
yeah, like even just have food to eat sometimes.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it
Okay,
could
yeah,
get
that's
that bad. Like
Yeah.
So okay, I see what you're saying. Happiness does kind of rely on money.
Yeah,
a bit.
At
Yes.
least I feel like, in all seriousness, you need at least some cash cushion to not have to worry about that day to day kind of thing. You're absolutely right. But after an X dollar amount, I feel like you don't gain as much happiness from the money that you make. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a certain plateau point.
Yeah.
Whereas like you make X amount of money that takes care of all your expenses and whatever you want to do to have fun. So what's after that? You know, like there's a certain point.
Yeah, and I feel like me personally, I remember my first job was, I think I was making like $8 or something as a host at freaking Olive Garden. You remember Olive Garden, right?
Yeah, those were good old days.
And now I'm making way more than that. And so I do think about it from time to time. Like I'm not necessarily like any happier because of the money I make. It's like what I'm able to do with my money, and that's like I know it. I know I could provide for my family. I could provide for my parents and myself. Like it's what money is allowing me to do. It's not the actual dollar value of it. So that's why I know for a fact that money is not like the utmost importance to me. It's what we're doing in our lives. You gotta enjoy life.
I think a good way to put it, like, and I like hearing this, like when I hear from financial gurus or like investors, they say money's a tool. Like money's simply just a tool.
Yeah.
And a tool is something that gets you somewhere that will potentially, like as a platform to bring you happiness, but it's not going to buy it. You know what I mean? Like, so
Right.
like if you think of money as a tool, like it could help you build this table or whatever, but like this table is not going to make me happy. It's what I do with this table that, like, if I'm having game night or if I'm having like a drink with friends or something,
coffee,
like, yeah. So that's what's important, is what happens around the table. The table itself doesn't make you happy or something like that.
Right.
Like that's just what I've heard. I'm just kind of,
I like
paraphrasing
that.
it. Yeah.
I'm gonna piggyback off of that and say it's kind of like a coffee date. It's right.
You and your damn coffee dates.
I love coffee dates. It's like it's not the actual how much you spend on that fancy latte and stuff like that.
Okay.
It's the company across from you and
Yes.
like what are y'all talking about in that time?
Yeah. You don't have to spend a lot of money to make your happiness happen. But I get
I hear you, man.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
I can get
cool.
down with that.
Cool. I mean, some interesting analogies that we just came up with right now. That was literally on the fly.
Yeah,
Like,
on the fly, man.
Like I was just like, "Ooh, man."
That's just how we
I
do
gotta
it,
say
man.
this. Yeah.
It's just kind of natural.
Cool. So yeah, money doesn't actually buy happiness, but it does provide. It is associated in some way.
Yeah, that's a good way
but
of putting it,
yeah.
summing it up.
Yeah. Appreciate you talking about this, dude.
Solid stuff, man. This is
So-
a lot of fun.
Yeah. So where can people like find information on this stuff? Like, what kind of resources do you think people can use to learn more about the stuff we talked about?
I would say, like, personally, I started with like the White Coat Investor.
Okay.
He's
That's
an ER
specifically
dog.
for like.
Yeah, but I feel like that. I mean, that applies to just about anyone too. But
could, yeah.
like, I guess if you bring up like financial gurus and stuff like blogs, like Mr. Money Mustache and all that.
Oh, okay.
If Physician on Fire, I love his blog and stuff too. So
Wow. So a lot of blogs for
a
you.
lot of blogs, man. But
Yeah.
books too. I mean, like I think a good, just like easy read book is The Millionaire Next Door. It's outdated, but the principles are still the same.
Oh, cool.
So
All right.
yeah.
So A Millionaire Next Door. Cool, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
What about you? What do you like to read and get your book?
If I read, it's from NerdWallet.
Oh, NerdWallet. Okay, yeah.
NerdWallet always, like, every time I search up something on Google, NerdWallet comes up in terms of finance or financial stuff.
Okay.
So NerdWallet stuff I read, and then a lot of like YouTube videos of, because I'm, me, I'm like more of a visual person. I hate reading, and that's why I didn't pass farm school. So
You are a
that
visual
explains it.
person. I know that.
Yeah. So I watched YouTube videos and like learned from, people like Dave Ramsey.
Let's go.
Dave Ramsey, some of the stuff I agree with, some of the don't like.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you know, he's got some.
I feel like
decent
he's a good
stuff to say.
foundation. Basics,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, foundation. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Like he helps you set up your foundation.
Yeah.
Those baby steps.
7 baby steps. Let's go. I also feel like one other important thing too is to have a friend.
Oh, okay.
That, like you know,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
talk about finance and
Bounce
bounce ideas
ideas.
back and forth and reinforce what you know. Because
Yes.
I definitely learned a lot about finance from you
Yeah.
and how you do things. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's good to just, you know, have that little
Yeah.
tight-knit community.
Yeah,
Right?
at least have someone to talk about it, whether if it's like a chat room or if it's like with a face-to-face friend or
Yeah, hopefully someone you
like-
trust, right? Because
Oh,
it's going to be
yeah.
about money.
Yeah,
Sensitive
exactly.
stuff.
It's just something to bounce ideas off of. Oh, hey, have you read this?
Yeah.
And like for us, we're kind of nerds about it, so we talk about it. It's entertaining to us. in
Oh,
a
yeah,
way. Some
yeah.
people just don't even want to talk about money, so
I mean, we throw
I
in the
guess it's to each
accents
their
and
own.
stuff, and it's it's entertainment, bro.
we get it from Dave Ramsey.
That's how we do it. I always say that, man.
That's how we do it.
Let's go.
So, if you guys have any questions about money or finances,
Hit up the DMs, right?
hit up the DMs.
It goes
You
down
already know
in-
where to find us. I already said in the last episode. Not
Yeah.
gonna say it again, but I'll put it in the description box, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So-
appreciate you guys listening.